An extraordinary holiday starts at Paragold, the destination for luxury home. Elevate the season with unique heirloom quality decor, gifts, hosting essentials, and more from design's best brands. Shop our largest ever selection in-store and online at Paragold.com.
We all take good care of the things that matter. Our homes, our pets, our cars. Are you doing the same for your brain? Acting early to protect brain health may help reduce the risk of dementia from conditions like Alzheimer's disease. Studies have found that up to 45% of dementia cases may be prevented or delayed by managing risk factors you can change. Make brain health a priority. Ask your doctor about your risk factors and for a cognitive assessment. Learn more at brainhealthmatters.com.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. Mm-hmm. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts. And on this episode, it was a hidden camera show that turned the tables on suspected pedophiles. Did To Catch a Predator go too far, blurring the lines between justice and entertainment? We'll talk about the documentary Predators, now on Paramount Plus. Joining me to get that done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, and host of These Are Their Stories podcast, my husband and the love of my life, Kevin Flynn. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
This is so celebratory to talk about Predators.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All right. We had to talk about something.
Yes.
Well, you know, everybody goes, no, that's an inappropriate joke. I was thinking about going to like holiday parties where you always know that one relative that hugs you a little too long.
Okay.
We should sit down and have a talk with them.
And also with us is private investigator, certified pet detective, resident cat lady, and very suspicious of everybody else at the holiday party, Laura Bricker. Happy holidays, Laura.
Happy holidays, yeah. I'll report back on what I find out at that holiday party.
Watch where you're standing near the mistletoe.
And finally, all the way from Valencia, Spain, author of the City Trilogy, host of Rip Current, More Like Ancient Aliens, and the podcast soon to be a major motion picture, Stranger Rivals, is Toby Ball. Feliz Navidad, Toby.
Right back at you, Rebecca.
All right, Kevin, this is Thursday's program.
It is.
Next week, we have a whole new batch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing on Monday?
Yeah, Monday we're talking about the podcast Beth's Dead.
Oh, that's a real conversation starter from what I understand.
That's what I heard. Can't wait to dig into it.
I've been getting a lot of inbound text messages about it.
Seems divisive, but we'll find out.
Yeah. So, Kevin, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
This came up on another show that I make,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something that kind of impeded me from looking for all the Christmas decorations this year in the adjacent room, a
Yes.
thing that you have warned me about.
Yeah.
What is that thing?
Well, we had a little field mouse that died in there.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
You know,
Oh, no.
I mean, we do have, that's where, the pest, trap is.
It's adjacent to the outside. the
It's
other room,
where
right?
it's, it's where it should be. It did its job. It didn't, die in the walls. It just died on the floor and got frozen there. And
Oh, God.
I can't remove it. It's just like I could really wedge underneath it and try to get it.
Oh.
And while Rebecca was recording Something's Off with Mel Barrett, the pest guy came
Pest
through.
service, yeah.
Came through for the usual, interior thing with the rebate trap. I was like, hey, this mouse right here, can you, it's starting to kind of break. Can you take it? Oh yeah, I grab that stuff all the time. Like, oh, thank God. And when
So what'd you do?
he didn't touch it, or he tried and he couldn't get up and just walk the fuck out of the house. So you can't. Rebecca will not go out the back part of the
Nope. The storage
basement.
area.
Yeah,
Nope.
because there's a mouse there. But you know what? At some point, he won't be there anymore.
That's true.
One
That's
way
true.
or another.
Everybody stops bleeding sometime, Toby, right?
Everybody stops bleeding eventually. Yes.
Occasionally,
yeah,
yes. So thank you for protecting me.
I tried.
I really appreciate it. Quick question, Toby. Are there rodents or pests of any kind where you live now? Because there's a lot of pests where we live. I mean, we live in the woods.
Isn't that where the plague started?
Yeah, somewhere around here. There's no pest in my actual place, but I assume there's rats and all the usual urban stuff.
You don't have any weird bugs that we don't have here? Like when you go to Mexico and you see those 6-inch long cockroaches?
Not that I've seen, but I'll keep you in the loop.
All right.
Oh, we had one of those once in our hotel room. It looked like a horseshoe crab running across the floor.
God.
They made a noise.
I mean, palmetto bugs.
Yeah.
We don't have them I don't think they have them in Spain, but when you go down to like the southern U.S., like on the beach and stuff, I mean, they're just freaking huge.
Yes.
One of the things is like there's no screens on windows, I guess, because maybe there's no mosquitoes. It's the winter.
Interesting.
But there's no
sign.
screens.
That's
So
like a
when we
very
open
good
the windows, we have to kind of keep an eye on the cats because we're on the second floor, which means actually the third floor. It's kind of a long drop if they lose their balance.
Go on a little jaunt.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin. Should we switch to a topic that's a little bit less lighthearted than a dead mouse frozen to our floor?
Yeah, this is a great Christmas episode, by the
Yeah,
way.
this is
I'll
my
just say
kind
that.
of Christmas, I'm just going to say.
Yeah, damn. All right. Yeah, how about we do that?
All right, leading off.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I wish I was there with you right now. If I was, you'd be naked.
Really?
Yeah. Would you want to be?
I guess so.
Okay.
In 2004, Dateline NBC rolled out a new segment. To Catch a Predator was a bait and switch operation where producers chatted online with men looking for sex with a minor, then lured them to a home where reporter Chris Hansen would confront them on camera.
Well, there's something I got to tell you. I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on a Now, you're free to walk out of this house right now.
The undercover segments were billed as helpful to both police and victims, as America watched the would-be predators squirm in shame before getting arrested. But its legacy is complicated as the show faced scrutiny for aggressive tactics, murky ethics, and entertainment masquerading as justice.
Some people watching this may feel like you have something to answer for. That this genre of TV you've helped make doesn't deter criminals or get to the bottom of their crimes. It just helps us enjoy it.
I understand your point, and it's a valid point.
Now airing on Paramount Plus, Predators looks at To Catch a Predator's impact on due process, actual benefits to deterrence, and effects on those ensnared. It also looks at the new generation of vigilantes who entrap suspected pedophiles. Director David Osit questions whether the TV show's goal was, as host Chris Hansen would claim, to understand why the men did what they did, or whether the goal was to humiliate them on national television. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about plot points from Predators. So if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. So Laura, I have seen some people in some podcast groups on Facebook say that they don't care about what Predators did to these men because child molesters deserve it. I think everybody deserves due process, and police are waiting outside of this scenario when it happens and the guys are tackled and arrested, and all of America gets to watch. What do you think, looking back, that this was on television, and what would you say to those folks?
Well, as somebody that has worked on a lot of these kind of cases and seen the other side, and a lot of times I think we are quick to just jump in anything that involves a crime against a child. Like, we don't want to even hear that there, like, is anything other than what happened there, right? Like, there's no other side to the story. We all know that in a lot of cases, generational trauma, people that commit these kind of crimes have experienced these crimes as victims themselves, and they're perpetuating the cycle. So I think I come into it differently, and I'm not condoning.
Of course not.
But I'm just saying, I have more empathy for how people land where they land than I think the average person on the street, because I have worked with the criminal justice system. But looking at this now, this is like entrapment. Like, this is entrapment for the sake of entertainment. And I cannot believe that this was allowed to go on as long as it did, and that law enforcement was like teaming up with these people and okay with this. And when I say entrapment, I mean they're using people to kind of correspond with a lot of these folks that they then go in and like, gotcha. And they know what to say. And I'm not saying any, but I'm like, they're luring them in a way that they're setting the trap so that they can spring the trap. But they're doing it in a very deliberate way, in a very targeted way. You know, when you look at how the system is set up to be fair, I don't feel like this is fair. I don't think that this type of behavior should be happening. I hate hearing about things happening to children. It's horrible. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. But at the same time, setting up somebody in a way that really is like this public humiliation for the sake of ratings is what it feels like. And then being like, no, we've gotten so many people that thank us. And like, you know, we are ridding the world of pedophiles. And I'm like, yeah, but are you really? Because I don't really think you are. And like, there's a system in place for this, and this is not the system. And I think any good defense attorney that had somebody that was arrested based on this show would have a lot of things to work with in terms of this not being done in a fair way.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's hard to be sympathetic to someone who abuses children, although we don't know how many of these perpetrators were previously offenders. That sort of, nobody seems to want to dig into that. But you know what really struck me, and especially with the first example that they have, is that so many of those people who caught expressed how desperately they wanted help.
Do you guys have any help for me?
There are a number of ways to get help, and we're going to get into that in the story.
I mean, my insurance covers therapy, and that's obviously what I need for obviously more than this issue, but another number of things. Even if it was something I don't want this to ruin the rest of my life.
They walked in knowing they had a problem. They know that this is something that they shouldn't feel. And some of them sort of mistook the cops and the reporter, Chris Hansen, is like a therapist, like thinking that this is an intervention to sort of rid themselves of these feelings. You know, and then the other point too is like sometimes you see somebody stop and they realize in the moment, like, I'm found out, my deepest secret is exposed, and life as I knew it is over. Mm-hmm. And they are absorbing that. And so again, we look back and we say, okay, some people had sort of this bloodlust for watching somebody that they believe to be a sexual predator squirm and get humiliated on national television. And I think that they realize that. But you're right, there is a better system for that. And that part of it was super enlightening to me, because for all of the times that they covered this, and for all the times they say, help me understand.
They don't care about it answering.
No, we certainly learned a lot more for the unaired footage about who these men were than we did by watching them walk around in a towel or something stupid like that.
Right. I said this on the show before, so it's not a revelation, but I was a child victim of an adult. And I believe that everybody deserves an investigation and due process, period. The worst among us have rights under the Constitution of the United States of America. And what I see here is a non-judicial investigation at the end of which a person is arrested and thrown to the ground in front of all of America, thereby tainting any potential jury pool that this person might have in their trial. Some would say, who cares? They were going to have sex with a minor. You should care, because if something happens to you where you are arrested for something you didn't do, and someone says, who cares, because blah, 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 it could absolutely be anybody. It could be anybody. That's why rights need to be afforded to literally everyone, even the very worst people in the entire world. Toby, do you think there is, we heard from Jon Stewart, we heard from Oprah Winfrey, we heard from all of these high-profile people that they were doing a service and providing value by putting the show on television. Do you agree with any of that?
Yeah, there's no value to it. The hard thing about talking about this, right, is that you don't want to be pro-pedophile, but just the whole setup is so kind of artificial in some ways, and that they have, was it the ethnographer, whoever that guy they had, who they were talking to, had the soul patch. He said that it was a co-created fantasy of highly sexualized children. So they're essentially putting out this sort of unreal form of a child on the internet as like a magnet for people. And so it's not even like a genuine kind of conversation, right? I mean,
Right.
you're like.
Wait, Toby, can I interrupt for a second? It's what
Yeah.
you're saying, that the kids are saying that they want to have sex with the adult, because we see that.
Yeah,
And the people playing the kids say, I can't wait. Like that's what you're talking about.
Right. So, I mean, it's not like a normal interaction, right? So you're throwing out this bait, trying to get people to jump on it. And then you find out later in the thing that, there's real problems prosecuting these people because Chris Hansen kind of acts like a law enforcement person and doesn't Mirandize them or anything, but pressures them into making a statement, which will then be ruled inadmissible and screw up the whole case. So again, it's like this spectacle, and it reminds me a little bit about Running from Cops, Dan Taberski's great podcast, but it's sort of like ritual humiliation for people for public consumption. And I'd love to hear what the counter argument to that is, because I just don't think there is one. And even like later when this guy Skeet Hansen is like, well, if we weren't talking to him, they'd be talking to some other kid. It's like, well, I don't know if that's actually true.
Right. Laura, one of the things I talked about recently on Something's Off is, how a lot of laws, either with a law with someone's first name in it, like Jim's Law or Kevin's Law or whatever, a lot of laws have really good intentions and end up with very unintended consequences. And one of those things is the sex offender registry, where you have a ton of teenagers who are in relationships with other teenagers that one of the teenagers' dad or mom didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And so they called the cops. We actually have an example of something like that in this documentary, right?
Yeah, and I think that was a very poignant scene here. And also I liked the cinematography and the angles that they filmed from. At one point, that person was was crying, and it was like the first time the mother had heard them cry. And instead of filming the mother front on, they were filming the mother kind of from the side and the back. And I think that was really powerful.
Can I go talk to him? I don't think he's cried since then.
What struck me about that is you're hearing like, okay, so his bail conditions, he can't have contact with anybody under like such amount of age, which includes his own brother. So he's literally living in a room in his house and he can't go anywhere. And it's crazy. I mean, do you hear about those kind of cases all the time? And I don't want to be like when we were growing up, but when we were growing up, all sorts of people had older boyfriends or girlfriends and it was consensual. But yes, okay, it was maybe not the best decision. But now it's like you're seeing that part of the justice system weaponized in a way where that shows up for you for a long time. And, you Google somebody and they're on that registry, they're going to show up and it's going to be like, you Google them in New Hampshire and you can go on the website and look it up, victim under the age of 13 or victim under the age of 16 or whatever. And I think that was the other part about this show is that what is the fallout after this show to some of these people? Like some of these people might be cleared. Some of these people are acquitted. Some of these people might have had really awful things happen, or there's more to the story, but we don't get that part because you're just getting the sensational like gotcha moment. But I think a lot of times when you see these teenage relationships where it's like things are fine and then somebody's conservative parents find out the kids are having sex and they're like, that's it, rape. And you're like, okay, but there are different levels of sex offenses.
Right.
And that's hard, I think, to hear because you want to lump everybody in and be like, this is all wrong. But there's different context.
Peeing in an alley can get you on the sex offender registry.
Yes, it can. Indecent exposure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the example with Hunter was just very, very sad because I guess the setup is he's 18 and the bait girl is 15 and he thinks that she lives around the corner or something like that. It feels like if there had been a TV crew not involved, that there would not have been an arrest. He certainly wasn't going to jail for this. If they felt strongly that this is somebody who actually is a future predator, because he also expressed how I wish you were 8 or something. If it was some other sort of indication, I think they would have used their discretion and, read him the riot act and explained like this is dangerous and for these reasons. But because Chris Hansen decides, no, this is a good example of what we're doing, it did set in motion somebody who I just don't feel like deserved that kind of public humiliation, right? And there's a couple of ones on NBC too where there was very young people that came through that even, the the bait kids were like, this is somebody's like nearly my age, and like I'm setting them up for an arrest, something that's going to ruin the rest of their lives, and I'm not even certain whether this is their behavior, right? Their actual behavior, or did they sort of, like, because it's online, were they entrapped? Did they kind of slide in? Even Hansen says in one of his, modern interviews or his contemporary interviews is that there's a big chunk that falls into this. They were online and bored and so all of a sudden saw a path.
You have some hardcore predators who would be doing this with or without the internet. And then you've got the young opportunists, early 20s, have a hard time socializing with other men or women. And I think the third group of men are guys who wouldn't be offending without the internet, the 24/7 access, the anonymity, and the addictive nature of this.
Which, Chris, by the way, means entrapment, But it's sort of like, if not, because if the definition of, the idea of
a crime
entrapment
that wouldn't have been
if
committed,
not for you, they would not have committed this crime.
Right.
And so I find it hard to believe that a jury would have convicted Hunter of this, but instead he gets, held up for public ridicule and will always be thought of as somebody who is a sexual deviant. And that is a lot for a kid who hasn't even graduated high school to carry on his shoulders.
Well, we'll never humiliate you publicly when you join us on our Patreon.
Oh, my goodness, no.
I'm sorry. We had to make a segue into the business section somehow. And Kevin, I didn't want you to have to do it after making that very
thank you. I was really hoping that it could go away, people could talk some more, and then I could say something and jump into the business section. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, let's say, hey, that jaunty music lets you know that it's time to pitch all of the great ways that you can support this podcast, like joining us on Patreon. Give yourself the Christmas gift that you actually wanted this year. Send back that robe and put that money towards a subscription to patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia. You get all sorts of exclusive content, including the Crime Writers on After Show, Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast, Married with Podcast, Something's Off, and Laura Bricker's Leave It to Bricker podcast. If you join us at the Let's Do What We Do level, you get episodes of Crime Writers on early and ad-free. And if you become a deep diver, you get all that. Plus, you are an official sponsor of Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast. Now, we also have an Amazon storefront where you can see some of our favorite things. Now, Rebecca's folks are like maybe thinking about that gift card that they got or thinking about returns, and they go to Amazon. They can stop by our storefront and see some of our recommendations. So, Rebecca, what are this week's Crime Writers on Amazon recommendations?
Well, Kevin, I'm going to recommend something I bought myself for the holidays.
Perfect. What is it?
It's a tiny crock pot.
A tiny crock pot?
It's so tiny. It's only like a quart and a half. It's so tiny.
Is that like a rice cooker size?
No, it's smaller.
It's for dip. I have one of those I put queso in at parties.
It's for dip. I was saying we're heating up a little pile of leftover
roast beef.
Roast beef. That's
roast beast, as the Grinch said.
That's like very stringy. It's like long, slow cooked. And I'm like, the tiny crock pot I'm getting tomorrow would be super helpful for that. You don't have to put over a flame. I used to have a tiny crock pot. I didn't use it all the time, but when I needed it, when you want to heat up one little thing of those tiny weenies, you don't need your whole crock pot. You need a tiny crock pot. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people today are looking around their Christmas spread saying, you know what I need?
A tiny crock pot.
A tiny crock pot.
It's a 2-quart mini crock pot. No, 1.5. I got the 1.5. I got this one.
Fantastic. I'm so happy for you. And Toby Ball, can you tell us what are your listener-inspired Toby Ball's deep cut recommendations?
Do you know they have Amazon in Spain?
Really?
Yes, I did know that.
You know what they call it?
What?
They just call it Amazon, too.
Oh.
That's what I thought, yeah. Amazon dot, not com, but it's like .esp or something like that?
Yeah, just DS, yeah. Here we go. Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Hollywood Lip Trio. Limited edition lipstick gift set featuring KISSING shades. Moisturizing, flattering, travel size. All right.
Fucking love Charlotte Tilbury lipstick.
I do too. I don't know who she is, but sounds awesome. See if you guys can guess what this is. Teenager Nail File Nail Buffer, 6 pieces, nail files and buffers for natural nails, emery boards for nail buffer, and shine kit, nail filer, nail buffer.
It sounds like a nail buffer.
Yeah. Well, there's a filer as well. So that's it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
So remember, shop us first when you go to amazon.com/shop/Crime Writers On. We earn commissions on qualified purchases.
Kevin, before we end the business section, I have a very important question.
Yes.
Do we have any angelic Patreon patron saints of the week this week that we can put on top of our tree.
Our Patreon patron saints are Noelle Keller and Jody Snow.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Bless you.
Noelle and Jody, I hope you're real people. And if you are...
They are, yeah. They're longtime patrons, too.
I can't thank you enough for your support of us on Patreon. I love your wintry names. And I love you very much for supporting this podcast. What we do, we cannot do without people like you helping us do it. All right, Kevin, does thus end our business section?
Thus ends the business section.
Kevin?
Yes.
Who's sponsoring this fine program?
Oh, have you ever heard of HelloFresh?
Hola, Fresco.
Yeah, they're the #1 meal kit in America, making home cooking easier with chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients delivered straight to your door. But they're even serving up more to love now. HelloFresh has doubled its menu so you can choose from over 100 delicious options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. Look, we recently had a nice meal on behalf of HelloFresh. It was the saucy pork burrito bowls.
Oh, those were good.
With cilantro, lime rice, salsa fresca, and smoky crema. It was very easy to make. You had only like about 9 different ingredients. That seems like a lot, but it's not
very many.
No, it's not very many. Very simple to make. I really love the fact that all you got to do is to bring your own salt, pepper, and cooking oil, and they got everything else. It's like a 3D printed cookbook.
Wow.
It's just everything that you would want, and here's how you make it. It makes for delicious meals.
And convenient. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/CWO10FM. CWO10FM. Now to get 10 free meals plus a free breakfast for life.
Breakfast.
1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/CWO10FM.
CWO10FM.
To get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. Kevin, who's our next sponsor?
Hey, we're brought to you by Rula.
We are?
Yeah, telehealth has made mental health care accessible to millions of people, but finding a suitable therapist, scheduling appointments, and expensive out-of-pocket costs can make it feel like a huge barrier. Thankfully, Rula has you covered. Look, we're starting with a new calendar year. That means for a lot of folks, new health plans, new you, and it's a great time to take advantage of those benefits and find yourself a suitable therapist.
Yes.
Rula partners with a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists, enabling you to find the right therapist for your needs and preferences. And get this, your average copay is as little as $15 a session. You go on their website, boom, 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 they ask you a couple of questions, and that really helps them sort of funnel you to the right people that can get you started on your journey to better mental health.
Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head over to Rula.com/CWO to get started today. After you sign up and they ask where you heard about them, please tell them our show sent you. Go to RULA.com/CWO and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. So, Kevin,
yes,
who's our next sponsor for this episode?
Hey, we're brought to you by Quince.
Oh.
Here's the thing about being a great gift giver.
Yes.
When you find something truly perfect for everyone on your list, you almost don't want to give it away.
Nope.
And Quince has just about everything you want on your list. They've got the Mongolian cashmere sweaters, Italian wool coats, and Rebecca, well, I mean, you're supposed to kind of be buying Quince for other people.
Yes.
But you cannot stop buying Quince for yourself.
Listen, I plan to buy Quince for other people, but everything on my Christmas list is a Quince thing. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
You know that.
Tell them about the leather jacket. Now, you got that brown leather jacket from
it's like
Quince.
The cognac one. I got a leather little short biker jacket, and I wore it. Like, I got it like in a month, and I wore it like 20 times that month.
And what did you just do? You just bought another one in black.
I think one in black might be good, too. So I got a second one. It's so good. You have to admit, Kevin.
Yeah.
They're so good.
They're so good. And if Quince weren't like great sponsors of the show and friends of ours,
you'd be mad?
I would be
apoplectic.
I would be apoplectic. But you can find gifts so good that you'll want to keep them, as Rebecca does.
Yep.
With Quince.
Yep.
Go to quince.com/crime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too.
Oh.
Bonjour, hi. That's QUINCE.com/crime.
Crime.
Get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crime.
Crime.
The McDonald's Snack Wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch Snack Wrap. Spicy Snack Wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack Wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
So, Toby, one of the most notorious things that ever happened on To Catch a Predator was that they were able to figure out that one of the alleged predators that they were baiting was actually an assistant district attorney. They went to his house. Police eventually entered. The man ended up shooting himself and dying. And they showed that episode on television. What did you think about that entire scene as we saw it play out in this documentary?
Well, I had never even heard of this. I mean, it just like how people went through all that and then didn't do some soul searching and decide just to stop is beyond me. Because they basically, this guy who says he's going to come, he's like being kind of coy on the phone and then he doesn't show. So they're like, okay, we're going to go to his place. Turns out that he's an assistant DA. They show up, get freaked out, decide they need to bring in the SWAT team, and they kind of bust down the door. And as Rebecca said, he dies by suicide. And then the reaction afterwards, like Chris Hansen, like he just doesn't seem very bothered by it. Like I feel like the obvious reaction is to be devastated that your TV show ended up with this guy dying. But that doesn't seem to kind of cross his mind. The cops seem to think it's quite funny. There's this woman cop who they show 3 or 4 times, like basically trying to stifle laughter.
Here, they got a 300-pounder out there.
No.
Showed up at the house. They already arrested him. Brad couldn't remember if he either wanted to take a dump on the boy or have the boy take a dump on him.
Oh, man.
And then they show him, like, it becomes like a little anecdote he tells on these talk shows when he goes on. And it was so disturbing. Like, the whole thing was so disturbing from the very beginning to sort of afterwards, where it becomes sort of fodder for talk shows. And really the only person who seems circumspect about it is this kid who's supposed to play, he's the decoy. And he's clearly kind of devastated by it.
Decoy
and it's like
Danny.
the only like normal human reaction that you see from anybody who's involved in this entire scenario. And I guess it went off the air soon afterwards. Like, I guess the network decided that it was too much. And I wonder sort of what was behind that and whether sponsors are like, yeah, we don't really want our name associated with this kind of thing anymore. But, Chris Hansen, like at the end, it's a kind of interesting interview actually at the end with him. But again, he just doesn't seem circumspect at all. Like, I don't know if he's putting up a front because he continues to do it or whether his conscience is actually clear. But it's pretty wild.
Yeah, Toby, I actually did not too long ago kind of a deep dive on this particular incident because this was the rip from the headlines case that we covered in a recent episode of These Are Their Stories.
Oh, interesting.
Let me provide a couple of things that didn't make the documentary, or at least was kind of overlooked by a lot of people. This district attorney did not commit a crime in this, right? The other guys that go to the house, they commit the crime by sort of this intent that they have. And this guy, talked on the phone, and they knew this. They recognized his voice. They knew he was a DA who lived in their, he worked in a different county, but they knew who he was. And so this was the one time where they decide, you know what? Fuck the bait house. We're going there to make sure we get this on camera. And so the cops got separate arrest and search warrants from 2 different judges, but didn't disclose to the judge they were working with NBC. These judges later said that they would not have granted these warrants if they had known that. And it's certainly clear that the decision to go into the house was purely for the sake of the cameras. Either the police just did it because they wanted to be on camera, or they felt the pressure or went along willingly with the urging of the TV show to do this. But as far as like, if you can't entrap them, then we're going to go and get them anyway. And when they went through his computer to find all the child porn and all the evidence of all sorts of other crimes, they didn't find it. And so I think, Toby, that you're right, that the segment did get discontinued not long after. There were several lawsuits that were filed against the county and NBC, and there was a settlement and everything like that. But you're right. I mean, it went on too far. And apparently the cops with the cameras, somebody did get him killing himself on film. And at some point, one of the cops turned to a camera and said, "That's going to make great TV."
Yeah. Going into the house, I think, was to make great TV, right? They thought standing around in the yard would be boring.
Yeah. Early, I mean, they certainly seem to think, whoever's inside knows there's cops out here, so we got to go in hot and heavy, right? So it doesn't matter whether the NBC insisted or not. The cops decided that for the sake of the cameras, they were going to do everything they could to make sure that this was an arrest. But you also have to point, this guy's completely different. They tried everything they could do to lure him to the house, but he wouldn't do it. Because for whatever reason, because he decided he didn't want to do it, because he said this wasn't him. We'll never know. And you're right. Chris Hansen just sort of is like, well, yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah. Laura, we see cuts cut into the documentary throughout a basically amateur YouTuber type.
Oh, God.
Running his own
skeet
predatorial investigative unit with like a fake badge and shit. Doing exactly this, but jumping out of closets instead of walking out of the kitchen into a living room. Obviously doesn't have the budget to rent a whole ass Airbnb or whatever. What were your thoughts on watching this guy kind of cut in right after we learned these like really awful things about the original show?
Well, this is a cautionary tale right here, because look at this mob mentality, this sort of vigilante justice that is normalized by this show, where this guy in his like bad suit shows up and is feeling justified in what he's doing because this show was out there. And it was so fucking cheesy, but it was also just like, this is how things get out of control. People have good intentions. People don't want to see children harmed. In that situation, you're seeing it reaching a level where it's not safe for anybody involved at that point. And, you still see it today. Like they just had a case over, I saw it in the newspaper a couple weeks ago, and it was some online group that was the ones who captured some guy and brought him to the police in New Hampshire. And I think segueing from that guy, the YouTube guy, to then seeing that shot at CrimeCon, where now you see, again, all these people are like, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, the thing is, there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance between doing investigative journalism to expose things that are happening and doing gotcha journalism that then emboldens people to do it themselves in a way that is just really irresponsible, not safe, not fair, and just totally out of line. And that YouTube guy was just next level.
What do you think about him, Toby?
Yeah, I mean, he was just totally unprepared. I mean, he gets one guy who he becomes suicidal and they just don't know what to do about it. They're like, oh, fuck. And they seem like more responsible than the other people you see who are like trying to get people to meet him in like the milk aisle at some grocery store and then like yelling, this guy's a pedophile and like chasing him. The only funny part of the entire freaking movie is when these guys are like chasing this guy who they've set up and the guy carrying the camera just trips and face plants in the parking lot. But, yeah, no, I mean, it's ridiculous. And he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He just watched the show and thought the show was cool. And so he's going to try and reenact it on this like low budget. I mean, he's like, you've been skeeted. He says to this guy.
Which is not what that means, by the way.
Yes, no, it does not.
It's like,
for those who don't know what skeeting means and skeet is, look it up.
But he had like some totally fake name. What was his name? He was like, I'm from the like blah, 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 blah.
Predatorial Investigative Unit.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Because you're impersonating an officer. Your crew is like some guy dressed up like in a tactical suit trying to imply he's law enforcement.
Correct.
He even shows like on his YouTube video, like it's going to get taken down if I do this, but I'll put in some put in some after effects of some blue and
Right.
red
Some
lights.
lights.
So it
Yeah.
looks like I'm actually working with the cops, and you're not, and you're making them talk. You're implying that they're not allowed to leave.
Right. So you're actually putting them under arrest.
Yeah, you're putting them under arrest, or you're falsely imprisoning them, or whatever. And and you're torturing them. And I will say, like, okay, the guy did understand immediately when he opened the door that this 20-something-year-old woman with all these tattoos on her arms was not 15.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know what 15-year-old has a credit card to rent a motel room. So maybe a little bad on him. But again, there seemed to be, if there's no legitimate purpose to NBC doing this, there's even less for this guy to be doing that. He just thinks like, I hate the thing. Well, you're just doing it for the clicks. Like, I think people who say that don't know what they're talking about anyway. But it just seemed like you're fancying yourself to be like some sort of hero in the name of people who have been victimized in the past. And a lot of the people who get involved in this, support it, they get something out of seeing a bad guy get their comeuppance, as we would say. But this is just fucking amateur hour. And at least the actual documentarians asked for the guy to sign a release form to use his face, as opposed to you just sit in that chair and I'm going to hopefully the sheriff comes back a second time.
Yeah.
Because if I were that sheriff, I'd be like, these fucknuts, I'm going to be going to this motel all night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, see you in half an hour. So I guess they had him just like lined up to come in. I mean, it was interesting to see them trying to make peace with themselves afterwards with the one guy when they're like, oh, nothing's going to happen to him. He'll get the help he needs. We saved 2 lives tonight. We saved the predator and the victim. It's like, dude, come on.
Like we said tonight, I hope that he gets the help he needs. If this puts him on the straight and narrow and it saves his life, then as far as I'm concerned, the last 2 years and change that we've been doing this is worth it. If we saved a life, that's worth it.
That's it. A child's life. And a predator's life. Look at that.
Toby, I'm going to correct you on one thing. There is a second funny thing about this documentary, and that is that Chris Hansen, who used to have an audience of millions on To Catch a Predator and Dateline, now works for his own network called True Blue, which has aligned itself with like anti-Black Lives Matter thinking, pro-cop aganda, and he's on YouTube. So that's also.
And he said, like, after BLM, that Paw Patrol went off the air.
Yeah.
I saw it after BLM. Laura, one final thing that I wanted to talk about was the interview that the director did with Chris Hansen at the end. I really loved some of the way that was shot. Chris Hansen eventually leaves, and they actually follow him with surveillance cameras, as he's going down the elevator and as he's walking out. And to me, that was like, we're like watching him now. Like this is like a.
How do you like it?
Yeah, well, it's not like he didn't know. And that was the whole thing. It's like these moments where he was just walking around. And I thought that was just an interesting thing to do. But there were some other interesting things about that scene as well. Right, Laura?
Yeah, I think it was interesting the way that they asked him thoughtful questions in a way to see, does he have any perspective and sort of self-awareness now looking back at his role in the show? And he doesn't. He acts like he might, but it's pretty clear that he doesn't. And I think it was really interesting when the director at the end, says, well, you're all looking for like, why did they do this? Like, what is the explanation? Help me understand.
And partly what drew me to the show when I was young was that first initial question Chris would ask, help me understand. Mm-hmm. But the show never really answered that question for me. I don't think it was ever really interested in the answer.
I think what was interesting about that is not only does he reveal that he had been a victim as a child, but then he doesn't say like, oh, thank you for doing the show. Like you gave a voice to me. And it's not like rah, rah, rah. It's very like, he kind of sits there. But then I really liked the footage of all these different cameras. And he says, you're free to go.
Something that they never said, like that they didn't afford that to their, they did say that to them, but then the cops are waiting.
Yeah.
The cops were waiting outside.
I was kind of just hoping like, oh, somebody's going to be outside and just jump this guy. But they didn't, And then you see this lady coming to get in the elevator and you're like, oh, is this lady a plant? Is she going to do something? I'm like, what's the lady going to do? He's free to go. And the question is, does he really understand what that means after what he has done when he lied and told so many people they were free to go after they'd sort of opened up, said they needed help, only to be arrested as soon as they walked out those doors.
Right.
But I also really liked the way that they zoomed in on the director's face at the end there. It was almost like the perfect way to end this documentary.
Hey, everybody, it's Rob Lowe here. If you haven't heard, I have a podcast that's called Literally with Rob Lowe. And basically, it's conversations I've had that really make you feel like you're pulling up a chair at an intimate dinner between myself and people that I admire, like Aaron Sorkin or Tiffany Haddish, Demi Moore, Chris Pratt, Michael J. Fox. There are new episodes out every Thursday. So subscribe, please, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Planning a trip this year? Travel smarter and connect deeper by learning the local language with Rosetta Stone. With over 30 years of experience, Rosetta Stone's immersive, intuitive method helps you live the language, not just memorize it. Choose from over 25 languages, including Spanish, French, Japanese, and more. Their true accent speech recognition technology gives real-time feedback to help perfect your pronunciation. No translations, just natural learning that builds from words to phrases to full conversations. Whether you have 5 minutes or an hour, you can learn anytime on desktop or mobile. Get a lifetime membership and unlock all 25 languages. Learn as much as you want, whenever you want. Rosetta Stone. Learn confidently. Connect authentically. Don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now. Listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life. Visit rosettastone.com/pod50 to get started and claim your 50% off today. Don't miss out. Go to rosettastone.com/pod50 and start learning today.
Is it just me, or has watching TV gotten way too complicated? There are a million different services and too many bills to keep track of. Thankfully, there's Philo, a better way to TV. For as low as $33 a month, I get the channels I love. MTV, BET, Food Network, you name it. Plus, everything that AMC Plus has to offer. And guess what? They've added access to HBO Max Basic with Ads Plan and Discovery Plus, so I can enjoy all the best TV with one subscription. There are no contracts, no surprise fees, just one low price. And their DVR is awesome, too. I can save everything I love for up to a year and skip the ads when I rewatch them. A total game changer. I signed up directly at philo.tv. That's philo.tv. And if you subscribe today, you can get $8 off your first month. Philo's the easiest decision I've ever made. Now the hard one. Deciding what to binge next.
Own a small biz and need a reliable way to reach new customers? Try TikTok for Business.
We've generated over 100,000 leads, which has converted into over 40,000 sales for our pet insurance policies. I am the CEO of Spot Pet Insurance. TikTok's Smart Plus AI-powered automation takes the guesswork out of targeting, bidding, and optimizing creative. If I can advertise on TikTok, you can too.
Drive more leads and scale your business today with TikTok for Business. Head over to getstarted.tiktok.com/TikTok ads.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's let our listeners know, should they check out the documentary Predators? It's currently airing on Paramount Plus. Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for Predators?
So I'm going to go thumbs up with this, not because I like the show To Catch a Predator, but I like the fact that we are now taking a look at it years after the fact as sort of the implications of this show and the way that it was made and the way that they caught predators and whether or not that was ethical, whether or not that was right. And, you know, nobody's saying that we want people to be victimized. But at the same time, we have a system in our country of, you know, innocent until proven guilty. We have a system that ensures people are treated fairly until both sides are presented in this way. And I think looking back, it was really interesting to see just sort of how culturally this show took on a life of its own, the spin-offs that came from it, and where people are today. You know, I think it was really interesting food for thought. You know, it was something that you may think you have an opinion about these types of cases when you hear about people getting arrested, but there's often a lot more to it. And I think this particular show, which took a very hard line on one side, didn't allow that side to come through. And I think this was a very interesting way to look back at this. It was also rage-inducing. Like, To Catch a Predator made me very angry. And it was a thumbs up for me.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for Predators?
Yeah, I'm a big thumbs up. I think this is the second sort of really, really good piece we've seen on the law enforcement media complex, which is just the other one is Running from Cops, by the way. I think it's a really kind of troubling and degrading, I think, to our society kind of thing, these cop reality shows. Because if you want to make cop shows, just make cop shows, right? Just have actors, you can do whatever. These have consequences for real people. And it's like, well, you know, it's these are pedophiles. But there's a system. I mean, there's a reason why we have laws. There's a reason why we have a justice system, things like that. It's because we don't want to have sort of a vigilante system. We don't want to be putting people in like even the metaphorical stocks like we used to in like the 1700s. And this is what it feels like. It's like you're taking these people and you're dragging them out in public without any kind of constitutionally guaranteed due process. I mean, these guys are guilty from the moment they walk into these houses. It's something I find the whole cops and media thing very troubling. So anyway, I thought this was really well put together. I think the subject matter is super important and something that I think doesn't get covered nearly as much as it ought to. I was heartened when I started watching it. I was like, I really hope they can pull this off because this seems important. And they totally did. So I thought it was great, and big thumbs up. Although it's a tough watch at times.
Kevin Flynn.
Yeah, I'm a thumbs up on this. This is super thought-provoking. It is a hard topic to sometimes get through. People certainly enjoyed watching bad people get their comeuppance, but it does demand a re-examination of the legacy of this show, of the tactics used, of the ethics, of the vigilantism, of the ways that the journalists and the cops used one another. And they always have Chris Hansen saying in the beginning, you know, help me understand. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but this is almost like the director's thesis statement that he eventually gets to, is that Hansen positions this segment as a way to understand these people, but they never do anything to try to understand them or show it. And we end up, as viewers of this documentary, understanding far more about what goes on in the minds of these people from the unaired footage than we do from what they put on television. And it's far more complicated. And if we were able to see how desperately some of these men want help to the point that they're getting confronted on national television, thinking this is a intervention to save them, it's therapy. I mean, it just shows how far gone they are. And it's a missed opportunity to actually move the needle as opposed to just making this another example of public humiliation. Yeah, I mean, I just think that this, this is not sympathetic to child predators, but it does make one think about whether or not they used all the discretion of a tuna net to gather up people by entrapping them, having a third party. Didn't even really get into this third party, this perverted justice of citizens who are just out there, again, pretending to be kids and chatting up people and trying to lure them to a bait house for the sake of television. You know, when you look back at it, it was quite a thing, and its legacy is complicated for certain. It says, help me understand. I think now I kind of understand. Thumbs up.
Yeah, huge thumbs up for me for this documentary. And one myth that I just want to put out there to dispel is I think that this documentary, one of the reasons people are talking about it is because people think that they are being put in a position to defend child predators if they say they like this documentary, which challenges a show that branded itself as catching child predators, right? That is not what's going on here. That is absolutely not what's going on with the documentary. Think about Nancy Grace. I think most listeners of this show understand that Nancy Grace and what she has done on TV for many, many years is disgraceful for the criminal legal system. She calls people guilty before anything has even had a pretrial hearing or adjudicated. She is a sensationalist, glee-provoking provocateur, okay? And the glee that people feel when they see what they perceive as a justice happening, Like I think about the Murdoch case and watching people cheer on the streets for that guilty verdict. And I'm not saying he didn't do it because he did, right? Like, I think he probably did. But like, we should not be feeling glee when somebody is experiencing what should be due process for a crime they did or didn't commit. The bottom line is, and this is not a spoiler, like these charges never stuck for any of these guys. So the public had the glee and no predators were actually stopped. And I just think it's really interesting to think about. I say it all the time. The worst people among us have the same rights as the very best people among us. Think about Curtis Flowers and how everybody in that town felt about him, insisting he committed those 4 murders at Tardy Furniture when it's very clear he did not. That he was like their predator subject. He was the glee they felt, trying him again and again and again. The people in that community felt glee. And all of us listened to that and thought it was absolutely disgusting. That's how you should be feeling about To Catch a Predator, because it's a perversion of the criminal legal system and the constitutional rights that we are all afforded as citizens of these United States of America, except for Toby, because he now lives in Spain.
No rights.
Don't get arrested, Toby. Don't get arrested.
Sorry, Toby.
All right, that's going to do it for us. But before we go, Laura Bricker, do we have a cat of the week this week?
For you, Rebecca, just because it's Christmas, I'm going to give you a dog.
Yes.
Merry Christmas,
My favorite
Rebecca.
animal.
You got a dog for Christmas.
Thank you.
Here, you got a dog.
I love those puppy crying videos. My favorite genre of video on the internet. When someone gives someone a puppy and they cry. The best.
I like the sad cat videos where the cats are like, my handlers are not. Anyway, so this comes to us from Abby Strange in our official Crime Writers On podcast discussion group. Abby did a Christmas card photo shoot with her dog last week and just got the pictures back. She thinks her dog's modeling days are over, her dog Dallas. But either way, she would like to nominate Dallas as Cat of the Week. And so there's some nice photos, some palm trees in the background, Abby and her German Shepherd Dallas. And Dallas is not looking at the camera in some of the photos.
Damn it, Dallas.
You know, it's like trying to get photos with your kids. You got to do a few shots sometimes.
The 2 dogs at the same time.
Find the lens.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Long time listener.
All right, Laura Bricker. Exactly. All right, Laura, of course, folks can email us at crimewriterson@gmail.com to submit any kind of animal to be Cat of the Week. But if they want to reach out to you online directly, how can you be found there?
You can find me at Laura Bricker on Blue Sky and Instagram.
What about you, Toby? You live in Spain now, but you're still available online, just in different hours.
Different hours. You can always find me more like Ancient Aliens or Rip Current or any of those other shows that I do. Plus, I am on Blue Sky at TobyBallNH and Instagram at TobyBall603.
What about you, Kevin?
I'm at Kevin P. Flynn.
You can find me on all the socials at Reb Lavoie. You can find the show on all the socials at Crime Writers On. If you want to talk to me, a good place to do it is on the Something's Off YouTube page. Leave a comment under one of our videos, and I love interacting with people there. Please, please, please thank our very awesome composer, Tyler Gibbons, who made our theme song. Of course, you can get everything we make at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia. And we also need to thank our wonderful editor all year round, Livy Burdett. The EP of this show is Kevin Flynn. This show was recorded in the Caitlin Rogers Project Studio, also known as Studio C, the closet, our New Hampshire basement, where we also help you understand. On behalf of all the crime writers, thanks so much for listening. We will catch you later.
Amazon dot not com, but it's like .esp or something like that.
Yeah, just DS. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we get Amazon stuff here. Although, all right, I'm not even going to go there.
You can complain.
No,
Jeff Bezos can take
it's funny that the boxes, the packaging of the boxes seems a little more slipshod. That may be better, maybe worse. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, great.
Partners in Crime Media.
Hey there, it's Katie Nolan, host of Casuals, the sports podcast where we don't care how much you know about sports, we're just happy that you're here. Every week, I hang out with some of my good friends to discuss the biggest stories across sports and entertainment, but in a way that's like fun and not boring. Want to know Sue Bird's favorite Diana Taurasi story? Or how heavy the Larry O'Brien trophy is? Or even what baseball team is right for you based on your moon sign? We got you. Listen to Casuals every Tuesday and Thursday on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye!
Holiday PSA from DSW. This is your reminder that shoes are a gift, literally. So unwrap something good, like boots that inspire your next big adventure, or cozy slippers that give you an excuse to stay in, or sneakers that feel like pure joy. Because shoes aren't just shoes, they're exactly what you wanted. Let us surprise you so you can surprise them. Find shoes that get you and everyone on your list at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.